Hi, I'm Bob Jensen. This is Fishing the Midwest. Thanks for stopping by. Wherever you live in the Midwest, there is an outstanding fishing opportunity close to home. Just south of the Twin Cities, right on Interstate 35, is the Faribault Lakes area. They got a bunch of lakes in this area that are full of fish. If you want to catch walleyes, muskies, northern pike, panfish, we're going to be after largemouth bass. You can do it in Faribault. I'm going to be with a couple of my friends from Faribault fishing for largemouth bass. Let's get out there. If you've ever traveled on Interstate 35 from the south toward the Twin Cities of Minnesota, you've gone through the west edge of Faribault, Minnesota. Every year, hundreds of thousands of folks headed for their fishing destinations take this route. You know that bridge you cross on the interstate in Faribault? That bridge with a little river underneath and the two larger bodies of water to the east and west? Those bodies of water are loaded with walleyes, largemouth bass, and an assortment of panfish. In fact, if you were to spend some time fishing the Faribault area, you'd find that there are a bunch of lakes in the area that can provide some outstanding action for walleyes, bass, panfish, pike, and muskies. I fished this area a lot in the mid and late decade of the 80s. The fishing was outstanding then. This past year, I got the chance to see if the fishing was still outstanding. It is.
Ooh. Boy, he blasted that spinnerbait right in the top there. Look at that. This water's pretty clear, isn't it?
Not bad, not bad.
He came up and just really whacked it good. Huh. All right.
We arrived in Faribault in mid-June. I had traveled less than 2 hours and was already fishing. That's one of the appeals about the Midwest. Wherever you live, you can be on outstanding fishing in just a short period of time. Faribault is less than an hour south of a major metro area, the Twin Cities. It offers close by, outstanding fishing to millions of people. It's right in the interstate, so it's easy to get to. And the fish like to get caught in the lakes around Faribault, as I quickly discovered.
There seem to be a few working this area a while. Little guy there.
Little one.
He ate it though.
He'll get bigger.
He'll get bigger.
Showing me around today is Lyle Pook. Lyle used to own a bait shop in Faribault. He knows the lakes in the area and how to catch the fish in those lakes really well. Lyle said we'd just throw some spinner baits and soft baits around to see what would eat them. We found largemouth bass and northern pike willing to eat those baits. We started out on a weed line and caught a few bass, then we moved into some shallow stuff. We expected to find mostly largemouth bass here, and we did.
There's one. There's one.
Oh, he was way back in there. He ate that thing, didn't he? Oh, it's a pretty big swinging. It's a pretty nice bass, isn't it?
That's a nice one.
They're always fun when they're back in that stuff, aren't they?
You bet, you bet.
Jeepers. He was hard. He ate the whole thing. He just ate the whole deal. Good. Fish. Oh, that's a little guy, Lyle. But he thinks he's big. There's some more up in there too, it looks like. I think he's been caught before. You caught this guy before, didn't you? You caught him when he was small. We're trying to establish a pattern. We're using a couple different techniques to catch fish. When we come back, we'll keep catching fish. It's a beautiful early summer day and the fishing is pretty good. Let's get back out there. The bass are going pretty good, and we're catching different sizes, big and small. Lyle said this about the size structure of the bass in the Faribault area. Well, these bass lakes here around Faribault, there are a good number of them, and it looks like there's some pretty good size, too, to the fish.
Yes, we got some bigger ones. 5-6 pounders is probably about the going rate on some of the bigger ones that we have in some of these lakes.
Yeah, I believe it. There's some big ones up here.
A lot of 3 and 4 pounders, though.
Lyle has lived in the Faribault area for a number of years. He told me why he moved to Faribault.
Lyle, you were telling me that you moved to Faribault specifically for the fishing. You don't oftentimes think of Faribault as being a fishing area, but there are a lot of opportunities for a lot of species of fish up here, aren't there? And some big ones.
Yeah, we moved up here about 15 years ago, 14, 15 years ago, and had a bait shop. And I liked the area because it had a lot of lakes on it. Where I came from, there wasn't many lakes, and I loved the area. They got all kinds of panfish, northerns, bass, walleye. Basically got it all.
We're fishing a little deeper now, but not much. We're throwing spinner baits over the tops of a bed of cabbage weeds. We thought there might be some bass here, but instead there's a bunch of pretty nice pike, and they're also willing biters.
Oh, what's this? Another northern. Whoa! Did you see him jump? These are poor man lobster size, you know it? These are just perfect for poor man lobster, you know? I'm gonna let that one go. They're just smacking that white spin. Look at my white spinnerbait. You know, my white spinnerbait is not white anymore. He ate the whole thing. Ha, jeepers. And they're right along the edge of the weeds. This is like mid-June, and they're right over the top and along the edge of the weeds. And they're biters. I mean, they want to get caught. They're the kind of northerns that I like. Kind of bass, too.
Northerns are hard on spinner baits, but that's okay. Baits that are torn up by fish are my favorite baits. The Faribault area definitely has some great fishing, but it has some other points of pride also. Have you ever been to a carnival or fair or whatever and ridden on a tilt-a-whirl? Well, tilt-a-whirls are made right there in Faribault at Sellner Manufacturing. The Faribault Woolen Mill is the oldest privately owned business in Minnesota and produces more than half of the new wool blankets made in this country. The Woolen Mill factory store in Faribault is open daily. Shattuck St. Mary's School is a world-renowned center of academic, athletic, and artistic excellence. Sports Illustrated magazine said Shattuck St. Mary's is to high school hockey what Harvard is to law school. You might also want to visit Faribault for the annual Faribault Airfest and Balloon Rally or the Tree Frog Music Festival. These events are family-oriented and feature hot air balloons, an aerobatic air show, 17 diverse music groups, original art vendors, children's activities, and delicious food. These festivals will be held September 18th through the 20th this year. Go to visitfaribault.com for details. We only had an afternoon to spend with Lyle, but it was a good afternoon. It showed me that the fishing in Faribault was as good as I remembered it. Good enough, in fact, to get me interested in a return trip to Faribault in the fall.
Those were some nice bass and some really chunky northerns. The fishing was so good, I just had to come back in the fall. When we come back, we'll show you some of the fall action in the Faribault Lakes area.